The Honorable Ministers, the Members of Parliament, the Managing Director of the factory here, all the scientists, the engineers of NEC and the chairperson of the board of NEC, and all the invited guests. For Abaganda b'omu Lukola, tulina enjogera yaffe. Tugamba nti abaali baseka the big crisis in Africa is the understanding, has been the understanding for a very long time of political economy. This is what built the NRA. Political economy is the study of the laws that govern the evolution of society. Society has been here, human being has been here on earth for the last 4.5 million years. But because of colonial indoctrination, you find these academicians don't know much about political economy. When we came from the bush, I tried to introduce it, but they messed it up. They distorted it. They started creating what they call development studies, something totally different. Now, because the National Resistance Army and the student groups of the 1960s were very clear about this. That's why we never get diverted. And you remember when we came from the bush, we had the 10-point program. And point number 5 was talking of building an economy which is independent, integrated, and self-sustaining. And integration meant two things, two dimensions. There would be the vertical integration, but also the horizontal integration. Now, the crisis, Uganda's economy is growing and transforming. We are now going to grow at 7% this financial year. With our oil, we are going to grow above 10%. There's nothing that will stop us because we are clear about what is required to transform society. Now here, the vertical integration here is still partial, because what we have now is that we have got skilled scientists who are using imported steel, because this steel we are using here, we are still importing it. What Mzee was showing us, the tubes, then the sheets which are used to build the bus are still being imported. But soon, with our iron ore, we shall be able to, we have got some steel factories. We have got some steel factories using scrap, but scrap is not good enough for this type of work. Therefore, it is the new factories we are building. I think we are going to even commission one, ground break for one on the 18th of October with the presidents of East Africa. They will come in Tororo so that we start purifying our iron ore, processing our iron ore into the high quality steel, which is what they need here, so that we don't, because the steel imports alone in Uganda are $900 million. You can imagine all that money going out. It is as if the country has no leaders or planners. And you have got planners, commissioner, or I don't know what. What are you commissioning? You are commissioning hemorrhage. There is a disease in the Bible which Jesus talked about. The Banyankole call it ekejuiso. Hemorrhage, where somebody is bleeding, you don't stop. So $900 million is going out to import steel. We have got the best iron ore in the world in Kabale and in the Togota area. So why should this happen like that? Now, so the vertical integration, you had Mzee telling you about the batteries. Because these electric vehicles need electric batteries, which are made from lithium. And there's quite a bit of lithium in all these areas, in Tungamo and so on. So we are also going to work on that. So what has happened here is some partial vertical integration, where you have the imported steel using our skilled labor and our electricity to produce these vehicles. This is the beginning. But what is already taking place is the horizontal linkage. Because we have been having transport. Transport is a sector. Transport for human beings, for cargo. It's a whole sector. Consuming a lot of money. But all of it not integrated with the economy of Uganda. Integrated with Japan, integrated with other people. So for the first time, the transport sector is beginning to be integrated with the industries of Uganda in the form of Kiira vehicle plant. Now, once and then it will go into other sectors, because transport is one sector. Then you have education, you have tourism, linkage from ground to up and horizontally. This is what is beginning to happen here. If we do it successfully, we shall save $800 million for steel alone. Because Mzee told you that we are spending $800 million for vehicles imported from outside. Now, this is in addition to the $900 million for steel, because some of the steel is not for vehicles, it is for other things. So you can imagine, all the money we get from coffee goes back. So therefore, it is really a disaster to see what's happening in Africa. If when people are just talking about this, they don't talk about this huge hemorrhage. I've not heard anybody talking about it. The newspapers, this so-called media. What are you talking about? You don't talk about your future, how you can survive. I have not heard anybody talking about the hemorrhage. Hemorrhage. This is the biggest problem of Africa. Now you can imagine the jobs you are talking about. Those young people whom I found there in the factory, those have jobs now. They are all engineers. Where would they be working if we didn't have Kiira now? Where? And you have people calling themselves leaders, calling themselves planners, commissioner of backwardness. It's really so sad. You feel so, and then they are being pampered and flattered by the imperialists because they see they don't know what they are doing, and they will be used to sack our country. So therefore, what is happening here has already happened in some of the sectors. Like if you take the sector of the milk sector, because this is where I started, from the Rukora there. Because you can imagine, in 1952, when I started walking to the trading center of Ntungamo from our home, I started seeing in the shops of the Indians small tins of tinned milk. It was called condensed milk from New Zealand in Ntungamo. You know, they were buying tinned milk from New Zealand. And 2 miles away, our Kuraro, we had milk. But our milk could not go into the factory. So when we started our student movement, one of our first things we did in that area of the cattle corridor was to modernize the dairy industry. And when we came from the bush from 1989, we introduced milk coolers. Now the whole sector is vertically integrated from the farm to the table. But also the horizontal, because like now, apart from we are now exporting to the United States a protein called casein. Casein is a protein from milk, which apparently is used in medicine and things like that. So therefore, what you are witnessing here is the partial, not total. We are beginning implementation of the integration, vertically, but also horizontally. Now, if you look at the milk industry, what milk are the people drinking in the hotels? It is the Ugandan milk, Ugandan butter. So which means the dairy industry is now linked with the tourism industry. What will be the point of bringing tourists? And when they arrive here, they are drinking milk from New Zealand. All the money the tourists have brought goes back. When we came from the bush, there was something called Uganda Dairy Corporation. That dairy corporation, they would get powdered milk from Denmark and put in water of Lake Victoria here and stamp it Uganda Dairy Corporation. This is really amazing. And they didn't see anything wrong with that. So when I told them, I said, no, these Banyankore, who have been keeping cattle for the last 7,000 years, they can produce milk for Uganda. Somebody said they can't manage. Those are producing milk for drinking in their kraals. They cannot produce milk for industry. I said they can. So this is the big battle we have been having. What Museveni is talking about, lack of confidence, which the Africans had developed. I can see some of our generals, like General Mugume there. When we were fighting, I went to Nairobi, I went to Europe, and some people came to see me. They said, you know, what we should do is to hire Israelis to kill Idi Amin. I said, but if you want to kill Idi Amin, why don't we kill him for you? that Israelis should be the ones to be hired. You can't believe it. These are educated people putting on ties. What? It's really like a sickness. So I told those people, I said, first of all, we don't believe in assassinations. We shall remove Idi Amin, lock, stock, and barrel, uproot him completely. That's what we are working for. Not kill Idi Amin, and then you get Maria Mungu coming up. But secondly, if we want to do anything, we shall do it ourselves. So therefore, I'm very glad that, because the people who I must congratulate Paul Museveni in particular. Because he's the one who made the small something there, which I found, the Kasumoro one, looking like a teen. Karingaka Kevi. I found it there at Makerere. It's the one which, of course, I was already thinking about all that, but I was very happy to see that one of our young scientists had actually moved. And it is from there that we started funding them. That's where we are now here. Now, regarding the future, I don't see any problem. That $143 million, we shall get it for sure. And we shall also start planning for, because that one will deal with the expansion and completing this one here. Mzee told me that will enable us to produce 10,000 vehicles a year, because what you have now will produce 2,500. So with the 143 million, we shall be able to produce 10,000. But we need to start on the lithium batteries, because Mzee has told me that lithium battery takes about 60% of the cost of the vehicle. So in order to get all our money here, we must resolve the issue of the lithium batteries made here. I'm talking with a number of investors. They are coming, actually. They are coming in big numbers. We may not even have to use government money only. The investors can bring their own money and share with us. So therefore, really, I congratulate everybody. I congratulate you Ugandans for gaining your confidence and standing on your own. As you have seen, these few steps we have taken, our economy is very stable. The shilling is gaining always against the dollar. You can see it. The shilling is not losing value. Why? Yes, we are still importing, but not too much. You can imagine some of the countries import food. They don't have food. And you remember the other time when there was a war in Ukraine, people were crying. So, what shall we eat? I said, what's the problem? Because there will be no wheat from Ukraine and from Russia. I said, what happened to muhogo? Don't you know muhogo? Why don't you eat muhogo? It's like a sickness. You have millet. Millet is much better than this wheat you're talking about. But they don't call it food. They think that wheat is the food. But what day? So that's why our currency is now stable, because we are still importing unnecessarily, but we are not as bad off as other countries. And Museveni is telling you about the drugs which our people have discovered from our traditions. They have actually found a cure for diabetes, complete cure. They found a cure for cancer. There is also a cure for malaria. So therefore, your country will, you the scientists, please wake up and dig more into our heritage, into the practices of your parents. They are all scientifically based. Amos Kaguta was a scientist. This is what I've been telling some of my scientists. Because Amos Kaguta and his colleagues, his group, he had a number of tools they were using. But one of them was called Ombunduru. Ombunduru was something they would use to brand, I think you call it branding, to apply heat to the cow. And you could see that they had the basics of science very clearly, because the mbundur proper would be iron or steel or whatever, a kyoma, but it would have a wooden handle. You can see the principles of science. The iron is a high conductor of heat, but the wood is a poor conductor of heat. So Mr. Kaguta would put the mbundur in the fire to go red hot, but use the handle to hold the handle, to handle the red hot and apply it on the cow. Science, this is science. Material science. This is material science. Which material is a conductor of heat, which is a bad conductor of heat, this is what science is about. But part of the problem, part of the inferiority complex, is that many of the people don't even understand the basics of science. They are mystified. They are mystified. They are not able to tell material science and how it is affected by electronics, even the AI they are talking about. It is the same process. To get the materials which can do what, which can do this, do the other one. So we need a real awakening and confidence to know that we have been a science society for a long time. The way our people make beer, this is science. Fermentation, how to make the bananas ripen in the ruina. It's called ruina, where they bury the bananas for some 4 days, then they ripen, then come and get the juice. Some of the science people don't even know about it up to today. You hear these people, these ignorant foreigners, talking of tomato juice. I tell them, how can tomato have a juice? Tomato is a vegetable. So what they do, they okshuma. They don't even have words. I want to learn the Banyankore words. When you get tomatoes and you okshuma, you mash them, and then you put water and you call that juice. This is not juice. Juice is from bananas. I don't know whether the scientists there can tell us the biochemistry which happens when you... Can somebody tell us the biochemistry of juice converting amenvu into juice? Does somebody know that biochemistry? Missionaries groups. We have not bothered to study it. Missionaries ourselves want to help us. You come and help us. Biochemistry, this is very... When I was in Dar es Salaam, fighting Yamin, Mama Janet showed those, they didn't know in Tanzania how to make banana juice. And she showed them how to make it with her hands in the safuria. And they were saying, our Ugandans ni kama wazungu. What is the biochemistry of making, converting amenvu into juice?
Your Excellency, the bananas have sugars, they have the carbohydrates, and some of that carbohydrate is fibrous, but they also have a lot of water, and they have, when they have ripened, some of the starch, the carbohydrates which are complex, they convert into sugar, and which is sweet. So when you apply either the energy, like you see we use grass or something which is hard, it causes the separation of the sugars and the water from the fibrous material, and you are able to trap the other ones and separate the juice. In some cases, they use enzymes. In those modern facilities, they just apply enzymes which will digest and cause the sugars to go out. But when you ripen them, the process of ripening causes some of the carbohydrates to be broken into sugars. That's the difference between the sweet banana or the ripened banana, because it has a lot of sugar and less fiber. So when you apply that mechanical energy, the way we make it here, either the Basoga use their feet. In my place, we use the hands. I don't know whether the Banyankore use the hands, but you have to apply something.
We're originally using feet.
The Bagwere cut grass, spear grass, and then they trap the bananas and squeeze them. That causes the separation.
Yes, they use omsojo. Omsojo, there's a particular grass which they use.
Yes.
Or they use obugara, the ones of the top of the papyrus.
Yes. So when you do that, you could also boil, but that changes the taste because it affects the biochemistry of the sugars. If you boil the ripe bananas, they will separate, but the taste is not the same as when we do the ones which are just ripened.
So this is really what we need to... You need that awakening to know that what is science, essentially the learning how to use the laws of nature to solve human problems. Much of the science is from natural laws, which if they are understood, they will be used. Gravity, pressure, light, these are all natural laws of nature. So I want to congratulate the Makerere University, because this is where Musasi and others started. Then I want to congratulate Kiira Motors And I want to congratulate the Enterprise Corporation, National Enterprise Corporation, because you are all now showing that you can do it. This is the lack of confidence barrier which you are now breaking. I think everybody will now be confident that it can be done, and you can do it, and you have the capacity. So I congratulate you, and I wish you good luck.